Week 17 is in the books. Al, let's talk about it.
Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's dive right on in because we got a lot to cover.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, first game of the week, I think it was anyway. Was it? Yeah, Kansas City and Pittsburgh on Christmas. 29-10, Kansas City wins. Pittsburgh, they're 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 in trouble. They're hitting the skids a little bit, I think. And actually, I did get this one right, and you got this one wrong. You had a close game, but you did side on Pittsburgh's side. And I understand your logic because it was hard to believe that Pittsburgh was going to lose again. Like I said, they're on the skids, but Kansas City's always tough, and I thought it would be close. And I've started to notice now, and I'm sure you have too. The last few weeks, these 3-point and 2-point wins are becoming bigger margins, and they're starting to hit their stride a little bit. Kansas City.
No doubt about it, man. A couple things, and you hit on them both that are real big from this game in the last month is Pittsburgh is in the shitter. Pardon my, but I think it's appropriate here because they are really hurting. I mean, I don't know what they got Pickens back this week, and their offense looked no better. Um, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Is it like, Russell's not playing terribly by any means. So it's not like, do you put Justin Fields back in and fix everything? I don't think. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Their defense that was dominant early in the year hasn't been that great lately. So yeah. And the other thing is, all of a sudden, Kansas City, I stuck with them to the point of insanity, where I literally brought up the Alcoholics Anonymous definition of insanity, and,
Yes, yes.
and then I stuck with them for one more week. And the second I jumped off, they start crushing people. So I'm back there for this. They better watch. They are, to me, they're now the favorites for the Super Bowl going into the playoffs because they are playing that well now again.
Yeah, it's hard to deny at this point. Hard to put anybody ahead of them. What do you got? You got any numbers for this game?
Yeah, let's see here. Yes, I do. I just forgot to open to the right page. Bear with me one sec. Here we go. Okay. So we got Mahomes, who, speaking of things that are back to, what maybe you expect from them, Mahomes, 29 of 38 for 320, three touchdowns, no picks. That's the Mahomes everybody expected.
Yep.
Um, Travis Kelce, the ageless wonder, 8 catches for 84 yards and a touch. Xavier Worthy, his ascension continues. 8 catches for 79 yards and a touchdown, and their defense had 5 sacks and a pick.
Can you imagine when they get Rice back next year with Worthy and Kelsey um, and even Hollywood Brown? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
absolutely,
gonna be
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, man. No, it's a whole different ball game all of a sudden. It really is, and it's going to be interesting to watch them with a pack of weapons again, like they had when Hill was there. Um, the only stat of note on Pittsburgh's entire thing is Russell Wilson because he's a quarterback. 23 for 37 for 205, no touchdowns and a pick, 6 rushes for 55 yards and a touch. The only other stat of note for them, the defense 0-0 for interceptions and sacks. They impacted this game almost not at all.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. Their defense has kind of gone down, and that they can't afford that because they were winning games before on their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were. I for certainly was talking about them as one of the best defenses in football half a season ago, and they are not even close to that at this point.
Yep. All right, I'm ready to move on. If you are,
Yeah, let's do it.
all right. Baltimore over Houston, 31-2. Was that a scoregami? I wonder.
I
I didn't
don't.
hear anything about it because I usually when there is a scoregami, I pick up on it from somewhere. I
Is
didn't hear anything
scoregami when
about it.
there's never been that score before?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't, but it certainly seems like it could be, man. Holy mackerel!
yeah. It usually happens once or twice a year.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing that score.
Yeah. Anyway, Baltimore is also hitting their stride. Them and Kansas City. If it's those two in the championship game, that's going to be a hell of a game. Um, we both got this one right. We both picked Baltimore. Houston is just, you know, just limping their way into the playoffs, and I think they're gonna be an easy out for whoever they go up against, um, for sure. And actually, it might be Pittsburgh, to be honest. Then I'm thinking about it. Well,
Yeah,
anyway, we'll
yeah,
see.
that's one of the scenarios heading into the last week. Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. So Baltimore is doing their thing in their stride, and I believe Lamar Jackson is now right there with Josh Allen for the MVP again. It could go either way at this point. He's just continues going on, continues just absolutely dominating, and yeah, Houston had no answer, and I'm not surprised.
I'm with you, man. Listen, I mean, it's cool you brought that up because I was going to for sure. Um, there was a time when the Ravens had stumbled, lost some games they shouldn't have, and I think they were sitting at 7-5, maybe 8-5 at one point when the Bills were, you know, 10-2, something like that. And the separation between the teams' records was pretty dramatic. Josh Allen was playing his best game, best football of a great season right in that stretch. So he pulled away for a minute there, but Lamar's back. In fact, his stats are better. So if neither one loses on Sunday, well, I guess it doesn't matter for the Bills. They're not really playing for anything. But if the
Right.
Ravens win, I think there's a really good chance Lamar wins the MVP now.
Yep. There's a third person, which I'm going to bring up later, who I think could actually win it, and it's not Saquon. But we'll continue on.
Well, I know who you're talking about, and they're going to have to make the playoffs for that to happen.
Right, and I think they're going to.
Right on, right on.
Well, I think if they do, he's going to win it.
Well, we
Like,
might as well tell people who we're talking about now. That's Joe
yeah,
Burrow.
it's Joe Burrow. If Cincinnati makes the playoffs, I'm saying it right now. If they make it, he's going to win the MVP over Lamar and Josh Allen. His numbers are just as good or better than both of theirs. His touchdowns definitely are. His yardage definitely is, and he literally is the only reason why they're going to make the playoffs. So if you really want to go with the definition of most valuable, he's the most valuable player in the league, and I think that's even right now, even if they don't make the playoffs. But obviously, they got to win. They got to get in there. But anyway, that's my opinion. Anyway.
No, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, I disagree completely, but I respect the thought for sure, and I think he's a hell of a player. But look at his receiving core compared to Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and don't tell me he's doing it by himself.
Well, he's got he's got Higgins and Chase, but I don't know. I still think I don't know. I think he would get it because of them just being on the cusp of being eliminated for like weeks now and keep winning. They're playing much better now. I think they're going to win again on Sunday if they get in. I would give it to him. His numbers are better than
They're
the
not
both of
really though if
theirs.
you factor in rushing yardage because they're
Yeah,
really
but they're passing. Plus, another thing too is I hate to say this because it annoys me when this happens, but I think there could be like Lamar fatigue of giving him the MVP that people just don't want to give it to him again for a third time, and I think that's really going against him. Like that will be a factor, and I think that does matter. And if they sneak in, my pick for sure is Joe Burrow if they get in.
right on, right on. Well, just to while we're on this, it's not as good a stat debate as you're making it out to be on Burrow's side because he's thrown for 700 yards more, but Lamar's run for that much. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns more, 42-39, but he's thrown for 4 more interceptions. And his quarterback rating is 13 points below Lamar.
Yeah, but again, Lamar's already won it. I don't think they're. I honestly think they're looking for reasons
But
to not
take
give it
that
to
out
him.
of it for a second. You said you would vote for him.
I would. I would.
Okay, so you're giving him bonus points for not winning games in the first half of the season.
I'm giving him. I'm giving him the definition of the word, and I know he's got good receivers. But I still say, well, he also doesn't have the running game that either one of those do, and I think that means more to a quarterback than even the good receivers, or at
Chase
least
Brown is at least as good as James Cook. I will give you
no, he's
Derrick
not.
Henry.
No, he's not. James Cook is top five in the league.
Not no.
Yeah, I believe he is. Who's better than him?
Oh well, you really want to get into it? Let's make a list.
Well, Saquon and Henry. And honestly, after Saquon and Henry, he's right there with all the next tier. The next tier I would say is Minnesota. Geez,
Aaron
uh,
Jones,
Aaron Jones and Jameer Gibbs. Who else do you want to put in there? I would put him over the Jets running back there. Why am I blanking on all these
Brees
names?
Hall.
I would put him over Brees Hall. Like I don't. I think Brees Hall could be better and should have been better this year, but the Jets didn't use him well enough. I would not put him ahead of Brees. I would not put him ahead of James Cook. No way. His year kind of sucks. It's not that good. It's okay, but it's not James Cook's year. In Washington, I mean, there's nobody there. There's nobody on the Giants. There's maybe James, maybe Taylor, but he's right there with them. There's nobody else that I would put ahead of him. Who would you put ahead of him?
I'm trying to pull up the list here. I'm struggling to find the NFL rushing leaders here.
I mean Connor, but I think he's right in that same tier. I'm putting like a tier of like 4 or 5 guys who could all have the case to be number 3, and I think he's right in that tier. And I don't think Chase Brown is.
Well, I'll tell you this: James Cook, your number 3 running back, is 17th in the NFL in rushing yards this year.
17th?
17th, my man.
Wow,
Yep.
that's surprising. What about receiving and rushing?
Let's see. Receiving.
That is surprising. I would if you before you told me that, and if I was just guessing, I would say he was like 6th or 7th.
You want to take a guess who 16 is?
Who? No,
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown is
Yep.
16th and he's 17th.
Yep.
Very interesting. I still would take him over him, and I still would say he's in that next tier. Like for drafts next year, he's top 10 for sure.
Top 10 overall or top 10 running back?
Top 10 running back.
Okay. Yeah. Probably. Um, the problem with the Bills is, and listen, Cook should maybe be what you're saying, but they don't run the ball enough. And Cook had 197 rushing attempts this year. So that's part of the issue. I like Cook a lot. This is not an I don't like Cook debate, but he is clearly not the 3rd best running back in football this year. So you got Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Jameer Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Chuba Hubbard, James Conner, Aaron Jones, Bucky Irving, Tony Pollard, Rico Dowdle, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, and Chase Brown all ran for more yards than him.
Very interesting. Like I said, if I was guessing, it'd be 6 or 7. Well, I mean, this goes back to the Joe Burrow debate. I still say he's the most valuable player in the league, but he won't get it if they don't make the playoffs. But if they do, I guarantee you, I'll guarantee it right now. If they make the playoffs, it'll be him or Josh Allen, and it will not be Lamar.
Okay, interesting.
I
Interesting.
don't think they want to give it to him again. I just honestly think they don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's a reasonable thought. It is. It is. I don't
But
have a problem with that part of it. I just have a problem. I don't have a problem with it. It's your opinion, and I respect it. And listen, we're splitting hairs between the 3 best quarterbacks in football right
this is
now.
also very true.
so, so it's not like it's like no, Joe Burrow sucks and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are awesome. I just personally I can't give credit to extra credit to a guy who his team struggled for the first half just because they got hot in the second half.
Okay, all right, that's definitely fair. I'm not, I've, way wrong before. I could definitely be wrong again. Just my opinion. If I had a vote, I would be voting for Burrow. I'd vote for Burrow right now before he even gets in.
I love it. I love it. Oh, hey, just for fun, let's put it on the record right now. 1, 2, 3 MVP finish.
Allen, Burrow, Lamar.
I'm going to go Lamar, Allen, Burrow.
Well, I got it. Can I caveat it?
Sure.
If Cincinnati makes the playoffs, it'll be Allen. I think it'll be Allen, Burrow, Lamar. If they don't make the playoffs, it'll be Allen. Your order. Or well, no,
No,
Allen,
you'll take
Lamar.
Allen over Lamar though, right?
Yeah, Allen,
Yeah.
Lamar, and Burrow.
Which is a tough one. The reason I'm taking Lamar is because Allen's not going to play this week. They're going to put him in for 1 snap so he keeps his record going, and that's it. So Lamar's going to have an extra week of stats, and they're already better than Allen's. So unless you're right about the voter fatigue, which very well could be correct, then I feel pretty good about my Lamar pick. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay. All right, we
Love
definitely
it.
spent a lot of time on that.
That was
Just real
fun though.
quick
That
on
was
the
good.
yeah, real quick on the Houston side. Yeah, I like I said, they're gonna be an easy out. They're not a playoff worthy team really.
I don't even know what to make of them. I mean, they just folded up the tent. I don't know what to think of the whole future of the Texans after this season. I really don't.
All right, let's get to the most pathetic game possibly of the year. My God, 6-3, the Mariners beat the Cubs.
Yeah,
31. Uh,
took a second to sink in. That was awesome. Keep going.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Seahawks over Chicago 6-3. We both got it right. We both had much bigger scores. I had 31-14. You had 28-20, and it was 6-3. Are you kidding me? Just horrible, horrible. Now the playoff scenario for Seattle, they need the Rams to lose and they got to win. Is that what it is next week, or are they out?
Yeah, they. I believe they are eliminated. Let me make sure.
Oh, they're playing each other next week.
For some reason, I thought I saw they were eliminated, but I could be
I
wrong. Hold
think
on.
I think you're right. I think they are eliminated. So they're not playing for anything next week. They'll probably
Yeah, because
fold
I
it
saw
up.
the Rams are going to be sitting people, so they must have clinched.
Yeah, yeah. Not much to say about this one because there's not a lot happened here. Caleb Williams continues to struggle.
Yeah.
Chicago has lost how many in a row now? I
Oh God, let me pull it up real quick.
think it's like 9 or 10.
I want to say 9, but maybe it's 10 now. Yeah, you might be right, man. Hold on a sec. NFC North. Oh, good lord. Yeah, it's bad, dude. It is bad. They got zero action from their new coach. The new coach bump. They've
Yep.
lost 10 in a row, man. They were 4-2, Craig.
Yeah.
They are now 4-12.
Good lord.
That's wild, brother. Wow.
And Seattle, I mean, just a horrible effort. Obviously, only getting 6 points. They were on the road, but whatever. And they're out too. So I'm ready to move on. There's not a whole lot to talk about with this one.
You know what I wrote for stats? There's not a single stat worth reading.
Yep, absolutely correct.
We don't give anybody credit on an effort like that.
All right. Buffalo smashes the Jets 40-14. The Jets had 16 penalties, the most penalized team in the league, the most undisciplined team in the league. And for the game, there was 23, which is ridiculous.
Ouch. I mean, that's bonkers, dude. Come on.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
you know, Buffalo clinched at number two. They did what they had to do. Allen was fine. Everything was fine, and they just move on and get ready for the playoffs for some great matchups. Hopefully down the road.
For sure, man, for sure. Yeah, and I just want to add that in a 40-14 game, it was actually that's closer than the game really was, which is
Yeah,
hard. It's hard to believe, but
because it was 30-0, right?
they were up 40-0 with 7 minutes left.
Good lord! And the 14 was with Tyrod Taylor, right?
Yeah, yeah. He played a good chunk of the game. I'm not most of the fourth. He must have played most of the fourth because he ended up with 14 pass attempts. He might have even played some in the third.
Yeah. All right. Nothing to say about the Jets. They're a shit show. They're a disaster, and they're looking for a new coach and a new GM. Good luck with that. Buffalo, like I said, on to bigger and better. And like you said, they're going to be probably sitting next week, which makes that the case for a lot of teams. And Week 18 is impossible to predict.
Oh, it's a bitch,
It,
man. And
it's impossible to predict these. Well, we're going to have our Week 18 prediction show as always, but oh man, it can go so many different ways because all these guys are sitting. But anything to add on this one? Do you want to mention any stats or anything?
yeah, I guess there's a couple stats worth reading here since we talked about the MVP race. Josh Allen went 16 for 27 for 182 and 2 touchdowns. Also ran for a touchdown. They were in such a massive lead that he didn't have a chance to pad stats. You know what I
He's
mean?
got a lot of rushing touchdowns this year.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I think he leads the league even over Lamar for rushing touchdowns.
Doesn't Jalen Hurts have it still?
I don't know. Hang it. I got to help you with these stats because usually I'm in the car and I can, but I'm not in the car today, so I can call up my other resources here and get and help you with some of these numbers that we're trying to pull.
Let's see here. Where are you, Josh? Some of the way they do it in some of these sites. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, he might have passed Hertz because he has 12 now. And the last I remember, Hertz had 11, but I'm not 100% if he didn't get another one or two. I can't remember.
That's a lot of rushing touchdowns. 12
Oh, that's a massive amount.
on top
Massive
of
amount.
like probably 30 or something throwing.
Yeah, I think I want to say 36. Let me see here. I have it. 30. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I overstated it. 28. What I saw must have combined his rushing
Yeah,
and passing
so
touchdowns.
that means he's got 40.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Okay. Yep.
40 is a lot.
It's an incredible amount. I mean, let's see. Here we go. Finally found Jalen Hurts' number. Oh God, it's from 2023. I suck. All right, we're gonna. I'll just have to go the long way. Oh man. Oh, it's funny. Jeez.
All right, I'm gonna get my.
I now I will have it in 3 seconds. I just tried to take a shortcut. It didn't work.
Efforting. Stand by, listeners.
That's right.
Efforting.
That's right. Oh, I thought of another corporatism that I makes me want to throttle people, and that is we have to. There's a lot to unpack here.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, unless we're having a picnic lunch, I don't want to hear about it. Oh no, Jalen does still have it. He has 14, but that's a lot for both.
Okay. All right. What Lamar has, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I don't
Let's
think it's double digits. I think it's like 6 or 7. I want to say, but I could be off a little bit there.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm good. I mean, what other numbers do you want to go with
That's
for
pretty much it. I
Buffalo?
mean, listen, the Bills, all their starters did a little bit, but nobody went too crazy because of the blowout. Even like Cook had 53 yards and a touchdown, would have had a lot more if they needed it, et cetera. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. All
And I'm
right.
not reading a damn thing on the Jets.
Right, right. Okay. Let's move on. Jacksonville 20-13 over Tennessee. We both got this one right as well. And are you ready to move on?
Yes.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing here. I don't, no disrespect, but I don't care.
Yeah, I'll say I'll give you one stat because it's a guy we've talked about this year. Brian Thomas Jr. once again delivers in a game of crap. 7 for 91 and a touchdown. He's going to have one of the better rookie years any receivers ever put up, right there with Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a hell of a debate on who's going to win the. Who do you think's going to win the? Well, the offensive rookie of the year is going to be Daniels.
Yes,
So, but
but
I'm
if
hopefully
it
they give.
wasn't him, or if it wasn't a quarterback,
Right, right, right.
you know what? I would have said Brian Thomas Jr. until the game Neighbors had, which we'll get to soon. Until the game he had this week, and now I think it's probably Neighbors again.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, all right. Does James Cook lead the league in run in touchdowns?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's got 15. Derrick Henry's got 14. I just called up NFL rushing touchdowns leaders. James Cook has the most.
No shit.
He's in that class, damn it.
I
um,
love it. Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
he's had 100 less carries than Henry. And Henry's got 14. Hurts has 14. Josh Jacobs has 14. Williams, Barkley, 14. Barkley has 13. Gibbs, 13. Allen, 12. Yeah, and I'm trying to. The reason why I called this up is because I was trying to find Lamar.
Oh, and you were trying to find touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah, and does he have less than 6? I went all the way down to 6, and he's not on the list.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have guessed 6 or 7, but I'm obviously wrong.
No, we'll see. All right. Well,
Yeah, and Cook is awesome, dude. Listen, I'm not going to debate that Cook's not great. I just wouldn't put him at this as the third best in the league. But
Lamar only has 4.
Lamar only has 4. Okay.
Yes. All right. Well, whatever. Anyway, let's continue on. We're done with that game, right?
Yes.
Okay, on to a great game. Another one actually I got right and you got wrong. Um, Minnesota over Green Bay 27-25. What a great fun game to watch. Great game to watch. And kind of back and forth. And I believe in Minnesota. And you said you did, but you still took Green Bay. Are you back? Are you on? Fully on again?
I am. And listen, this actually a couple things happened in this game for me. One, it fully solidified the Vikings as a top contender for me, which maybe I should have been there sooner, but I am fully there now. It also knocked the Packers down significantly for me because this game was nowhere near as close as a score. The Vikings dominated them, frankly, and the Packers didn't look good. And this game was 20-3 with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. It was 27-10 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So I was stunned at how bad the Packers looked. Jordan Love looked horrible. Um, I don't know. This knocked them down big time and knocked the Vikings up big time for me. Even though I already respected them, this was a surprising outcome for me. It really was. Not even the loss, just the ass whooping they gave them. Frankly, surprised me.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about the score and everything. I thought it was going to be a walk in the park. I will give Green Bay credit for coming back. Like you said, it was what was the score at 30 to what?
It
Or,
was
or
I got it right here. Where was it? It was 27-10 with 6 minutes left.
yeah, to make it 27-25 is pretty good on their part.
Yeah, no. That listen, they showed no quit and all that, and that's great. It really is. But when the game was really a game, they got their asses handed to them.
I mean, Jordan Love throws for 185 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. And then on the other side, you got Sam Darnold throwing for 377 and 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but geez.
Yeah, and if you had asked me before this season, if you had asked me 5 weeks ago who I would take between those two, I would have taken Jordan Love all day long.
Yeah, me too.
And Jordan Love should have had the better stats by far in this game because he was playing behind for the whole game. He should have had 300 yards without even blinking in this game because they were behind so far for so long. And to end up with those stats, that looks like they were ahead for 3.5 quarters.
They rushed for 104 yards, and Minnesota only rushed for 69. So they ran more than them too, more yardage, and the carries were about the same.
Yeah, it was an odd, a very odd game from the Packers. It mystified me a little bit. It made me question where I haven't been questioning them a ton this year. So yeah, I'm knocking the Packers down a notch after that game, big time.
Okay, very interesting. Um, I'm looking at the stats now. Not a whole lot to mention. Jefferson had 92 yards. Naylor had 81 and a touch. Aaron Jones 47 yards. Josh Jacobs 69 yards. So nobody went over 100 in yardage for either team.
Isn't that
Which is
interesting? With
yeah,
and they scored points. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was Seattle in the 6-3 game.
yeah. You're right. Well, anyway, Minnesota, I'm very curious to see where you're going to land with next week's game. A little preview for next week for the preview show. Don't give it away, but
No, I
I'm
won't.
very curious on where you're going to land on Minnesota versus Detroit. Winner gets the bye. Wow,
And it's the last game of the regular season in prime time.
it's glorious.
It's beautiful, man. It really is. It really is. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that game. Well, next pod.
Yes. All right, another game that I'm not just I don't really care. Las Vegas 25-10 over New Orleans. We both got it right because we both caveated our way to the victory. We said if Kamara plays, then New Orleans is going to win. He did not play, and then we said if he doesn't, Vegas was going to win. So we got that part right. I actually, you picked 19-17. I picked 24-20. We had it closer than it actually was, 25-10. But Vegas, they're not doing it. They're of no consequence. And New Orleans they're just stinks. They're terrible.
That's awesome. I agree 100%. The only thing that the Raiders did by winning this game was drop from 1 to 7 in the draft order.
It's so funny.
Isn't that
We're
funny?
gonna get to that again with another team too.
Love it.
Um, but let's move on if you're ready, because another game.
Oh,
I don't.
I'm
If you
sorry,
got
Craig. One
numbers,
thing of
if you
note
got
with that
numbers.
game. I
Yep.
apologize. I almost forgot. One thing of note with that game that before we move on.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers broke
Oh yes.
Mike Ditka's all-time rookie tight end receiving record. That is,
Di- didn't he break the record for receiving receptions as well for a rookie?
I think you're right. Actually, yes,
He has 107 catches.
that's right. That's right. Wait, let me just double check. What? Yeah, that's amazing. And listen, let's just dwell for a second on how awesome Mike Ditka must have been,
Yeah.
because that record stood for almost 60 years, and he did it in a 14 game season.
Yes. Yes. Probably for the Cowboys, I would assume.
I think
Did he
you're right
play?
about that. I'm pretty sure you're right about that.
Pretty sure he played for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, Craig. I'm not 100%, but I think you're right. Yeah, most receptions in a single season by a rookie in NFL history, and most receiving yards by a rookie tight end in NFL history, and also
There
most
you go.
receptions in a single season in Raiders history. He broke the Raiders single season receiving record also, and they've had a lot of good receivers.
Yeah, they have. Wow.
Tim Brown in his prime, Jerry Rice at the end when he was still good,
Wow.
all kinds of good. I mean,
Brock freaking Bowers.
wow, incredible. Now we can move on. I almost forgot to bring that up. Sorry.
Yes, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you remembered.
Cool.
Okay, Tampa Bay over Carolina, 48-14.
Woo,
They left absolutely no doubt. Baker Mayfield.
man.
Let me say it again. Baker Mayfield. 27 for 32, five incompletions. That's as many touchdowns as he had. He had 5 touchdowns and threw for 359.
Incredible. Incredible.
My
Absolutely freaking incredible.
God.
By the way, has the he's in the same touchdown conversation among quarterbacks as Burrow, Allen, and Allen if you combine the rushing,
Yep.
and Lamar Jackson. He has 39 touchdown passes.
Jesus.
Now, the reason we're not going to talk about him for MVP is because he also has 15 picks, which is way more than any of the other guys we're talking about. But
Right.
what a year! What a
Yeah.
year!
What a year. I mean, Mike Evans is going to get over 1,000 again.
Yep.
Um, he had 2 touchdowns here, 97 yards. Bucky Irving
Man,
had 113 yards rushing and another 77 receiving.
that dude's a monster, man. I am going to get him on as many teams as possible next year.
I totally agree. That's just awesome. And the ghost of Adam Thielen showed up.
Yeah.
100, 110 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, man. Thielen, he's still good. He can still run a route, man. He can help a contender next year if he wants to keep playing. It's funny because he is so slow, but he gets open. Oh, I watched him dust Cooper DeJean against the Eagles all day long, and Cooper has been handling really good receivers a lot this year.
He's
And
just a great route runner.
he reminds me so much. Do you remember Steve Largent?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, he reminds me very much of Steve Largent when Steve Largent was in his last few years. Because he looked like he was wading through quicksand, but he'd be open by 5 yards at the end of every round.
See, Bryce Young, we're at a place where he needs a running game. And with no Chuba Hubbard, they rushed 13 times for 39 yards.
Yeah, where did Chuba going on the IR come from out of nowhere? We didn't know about that.
I did not know about it. And if Bryce Young doesn't have a running game, he's got no shot.
No shot. I'm with you. 100%. 100%. Yeah, they are like this whole Bryce Young thing is still very tenuous. And he has turned it around, but it is not like I don't think anybody is looking at him like, oh well, no, now he's definitely he's obviously looks like a number one draft pick now. You know what I mean?
No,
They're
no.
just you and I are like, oh, at least he's semi competent for the first time, you know? And so yeah, absolutely he needs to be loaded with weapons. And yeah, taking away Chuba hurt, man. Although they are
Yeah.
getting Miles Sanders back this week, so watch out, buddy.
The ghost of Miles Sanders. All right.
Yeah, nice.
Jalen McMillan also had 2 touchdowns. Just want to mention that. 2 touchdowns is just very noteworthy, of course.
He's had a heck of a rookie year, man, under the radar.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right. You ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 41-7. Philadelphia puts a smack on my Cowboys. We both got it wrong because we both said if Hurts plays Philadelphia and if he doesn't, then Dallas. And we were completely wrong. We overestimated the Cowboys. Although I almost called you. I almost texted you when CD Lamb was out of the
I
game.
same.
I was like, you know what? They have no weapons as it is, and the only real weapon they have is out. This is going to be very tough. And I knew it was going to be rough. And yeah, it was. And I almost changed my pick. I almost text you. And you're saying the same thing.
Yep.
Not so with that in mind, even with the quarterback play, your backup quarterbacks, I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I'm a little surprised that it was to the degree, but not surprised at all that Philadelphia got the win. Because Dallas just couldn't do anything on offense. The first, it was weird. The first drive they go down, they throw a pick six, but they're right down all the way into Philadelphia's territory. And then the second drive, they score a touchdown. I'm like, oh, they're able to move the ball on these guys, and that was it. They never
Yeah,
moved the ball again the rest of the game. The first 2 drives were good, and then that last whatever how many it was terrible.
man.
And
Whew.
yeah,
I'll tell you, man. This is what I needed to see because I just couldn't pick with a backup quarterback with too little information. And the CD thing, I thought about it real hard, but I don't like to change my picks because we're kind of one of our. I would do it. I would do it if something happened that I felt strongly enough about, but I've tried not to because one of our things is we pick ahead of everybody else. So I try not to if possible, and that's
right.
one of the reasons I kept it where it was. But the backup quarterback thing made me really nervous, and justifiably so. I mean, we don't know. I mean, Kenny Pickett wasn't great as a Steeler, and he was okay in his fill-in last week, but he threw a pick, so I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. But Pickett was great, super solid, 10 for 15, 143 yards, a touch and a pick. He gets dinged up. Tanner McKee comes in and looks even better. Throws 4 passes, goes for
Is Tanner
50.
McKee going to get the start next week?
I don't know because Hurts is still in the concussion protocol. I haven't heard anything about him. Pickett is questionable right now, so I don't. My guess is they would stick with Pickett if he's healthy, but I don't know that for a fact. McKee looked great, and I liked McKee when I saw him when they drafted him in the little bit that you saw him in preseason. He's 6'6", and he's slightly mobile, like he's not Joe Flacco back there, and
Yeah,
he can hit a not fully open receiver, which is key for NFL quarterbacks. So I'd be fine with them playing him if that's what they did. But I'd be fine with either of them now after seeing what happened. So
yeah, yeah. And surprisingly, Rico Dowdle was able to get 104 yards on that defense, but that literally was the only bright spot for the Cowboys. That was it. Rico continues to play well. But what it really boils down to is the turnovers. He rushed through 2 picks. They lost 2 fumbled. I mean, they had 4 turnovers. That's not going to get the job done. And then of course for Philadelphia, the guy who was on Devontae Smith was on was on their practice squad, got cut, was on somebody else's practice squad, got cut, and Dallas picked him up 10 days ago and
dude,
started him.
it looked like it because they
Booth.
just
The guy's name was Booth.
Booth. That guy.
He will not be on the team
No,
this week.
no.
Andrew Booth.
Andrew Booth. I remember, yeah, Andrew Booth, who was a Clemson, I want to say.
Yeah,
Um,
and yeah, he got absolutely destroyed by Devonta Smith because they kept Bland on AJ Brown the entire game. Brown caught a touchdown, but he only had 3 catches for 36 yards. They actually did what I want all great cornerbacks to do. Bland followed AJ Brown all over the field. He
well,
never was off of him.
this is what we just talked about with who was it that just torched them, and then because they let they
Diggs,
had
you're talking about Diggs, or no? You're talking about.
who we just talked about how they wouldn't move Bland out of the slot, and they got torched because of it because somebody put up two. Was it Chase the other week?
It might have been. I don't remember completely, but I know what you're saying. We've had this conversation a few times about cornerbacks not leaving their side or whatever. But Bland did. They did it, and I think now that they know that he did it against one of the best, fared pretty well. They're probably going to continue to do it, next year as well. Um,
Smart.
but but when you do that, you leave Andrew Booth on Devontae Smith, and
Right,
Devontae
right.
Smith has 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, yeah. The hope is you might actually have two healthy cornerbacks on by next year for more than one game.
Yeah, it's all we had this year. One game.
Crazy, man, crazy. Oh, but yeah, and then two stats fun from this game. Listen, I'm gonna revel in this just a little bit. You know, I'm not a total Dick Eagle fan like some, but this doesn't happen very often. So I have to say, first sweep against the Cowboys since 11, and
Oh wow, that's a long time. Yeah.
a long time. And I don't think there's a whole lot of sweeps in general in this series. You know what I mean?
Right, I agree.
um, and then and the Birds beat them 75-13 combined in the two games this year, which is
Yeah.
that's insane, especially given what I thought they were going to be coming in. Because I thought the Cowboys were going to be way better this year.
Well, they got decimated.
Oh, they yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Dak and all of it, but yeah, it's
We'll see. We'll see that. We'll see next year. I don't have high hopes, but we'll see. At least I'd like to see what they can do healthy at least. But you never know. And then of course you got Barkley with 167 yards. But the thing is, he had 31 carries, so I am on board with them not playing him next week, even though he probably would get the record. Last thing you need is for that guy to try to get that record and then get hurt. You can't risk that. I'm on board. They've already come out and said Saquon Barkley is not playing next week, and I think AJ Brown isn't either. It's the smart thing to do, especially with Barkley, because they lean on him so much. He's got so many carries this year. Give him the week.
yeah, for the playoffs, it's a smart thing. It is. If they had gotten the number one seed, you could make a really good case for going for it because then they would have had the week off. But
Right, right,
yeah, no, I think it sucks. It's just a shame that it's not going to happen because of the Eagles were too good and they they don't have to play. You know what I mean?
right.
But but I understand it 100%. It's the right football move, so I'm all for that.
Yeah. So yeah, onward, forward for the Eagles. We'll see.
And by the way, oh, I'm sorry, Craig. That completely eliminates Barkley from the MVP conversation.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he'll still get votes. He'll be top four for sure. He'll be, I don't know. We'll see where everybody else lands with the Burrow thing. I'm not sure he's going to be top three, or he might even win. If they make the playoffs, he'll be top three. If they don't make the playoffs, I'm not sure where he lands. But
Right, right. I agree.
so I think Barkley's going to be top three or four, depending on Burrow,
Right, right.
which is still great for a running back.
Yeah, it's just not a running back award anymore, unfortunately.
No, no, he'll get offensive player of the year, and they'll say congratulations for not being a quarterback.
All right.
Awesome.
Let's so yeah, we caveated our way out of that win
Yes, we
just as
did.
well as we caveated our way out of into the other win. No more caveats the rest of the way. All right, Miami over Cleveland 20-3. Cleveland just playing out the string, not much to say about them.
Yeah.
Miami is Tua playing this week?
Last I saw, he was, I believe, questionable. I'll find it right now. What's the news here? Thursday practice report. What's going on? It looks like it's He's limited in practice. It looks like it's still up in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
no,
they still have an outside chance. They got to play him, right?
yes, and the opening sentence of the article is the status of Tua Tagovailoa. I can't say it. The status of Tua continues to be a mystery.
All right. Well, yeah. Like I said, they need him. They if they want have any hopes of making the playoffs, the only way they're going to do it is, I think, is if he's there. I mean, Huntley played okay, 225, a touch, no picks. Um, but Achan has really not done much the last few weeks. He had 25 yards in this one. The leading rusher for them was Huntley. Tyreek Hill
Yes,
had 100
yes.
yards, and yeah, I don't have much to say for this one. There's not a whole lot here.
No, it was
Not
the one thing I will say is when Tua went out with his that horrible concussion earlier this year, and they picked up Huntley off waivers.
Yep.
They started him like 3 days after they got him, and he looked awful, and understandably so.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, well, he looked really good this week for him. I mean, I'm
Right.
not saying he's Joe Burrow, but but for him, that was an A+ game. That's what he does well, and so they now have a viable backup quarterback in Miami. So
Right.
that's
And they have the Jets next week, so they can beat the Jets with Huntley. But
I
they gotta they gotta win. They have to win.
I completely agree.
Yeah, nothing on Cleveland side. Dorian Thompson Robins, there's nothing there.
No, right there with you, man.
Jerry Judy, 12 catches, 94 yards. That's the only real thing.
Yeah, he's really the only thing worth talking about in Cleveland much this year, other than the fun with Jameis Winston for a couple games.
Yep. Okay. So this. Remember, I had all the order completely messed up last week. So my next game listed is not the right game.
That's fine.
But we're just gonna do it because we're gonna go over every game anyway.
Yeah, all
So
good.
it's Detroit over San Francisco, 40-34. How surprised are you of the effort of San Francisco? Where's this been all year? I mean, they lost, but geez, this was a really good game.
Yeah. No, it
They
was.
put
And
up a
this
hell
wasn't
of a
like,
fight.
yeah, this wasn't garbage time scores making the score look close either. This was a good game. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's listen, the 49ers have been mystifying this year, but I'll tell you what, this bodes very well for Kyle Shanahan as a coach and for the team's character in general that they put up this kind of fight. They're missing a lot of people, and some of the people they do have are dinged up and not playing well, like Debo, and Debo had a great game. Or one of his better games this year anyway, I think, right? Or was that the week before? Am I making that up?
yeah, he didn't do much. He had a
No, that was the week
touchdown.
before when he went over 100 and a touch. That's right.
Yeah, he had 5 yards receiving, 16 yards rushing, but he did have a touch.
Yeah, I was thinking of Garendo with his and Pierce all jumped out of nowhere. That's
Pearsall,
gas.
141 yards and a touch. Kittle, another 112 yards. Brock Purdy threw for 377, three touchdowns, but two picks.
I'm what do you we're okay. Let's have this conversation real quick. What is Brock Purdy?
He's up and down. He can't be dependent on to win to win you many games in terms of leaning on him to be the guy. He needs good to great supporting cast. He needs a great running game, which in the past he's had, and he puts up solid numbers. But if he doesn't have that, I don't think he can really take you very far.
That's a great assessment, and I pretty much agree 100%. Okay, let me throw a couple people at you. Because I think we can safely say we're not taking, if we're starting a franchise tomorrow, we're not taking Brock Purdy over Mahomes, Josh Allen, any of the people we talked about for MVP, Burrow, Lamar,
Lamar,
any of those guys for sure. Um, I wouldn't take him over some of the people I would put in the next tier, which is Jared Goff.
yep.
I don't know where to put Sam Darnold. I'm not even going to include him in this conversation because it's too weird still. Jalen
Baker,
Hurts.
what about Baker?
Okay, Baker. That's a good one. Baker, Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Who else is in that kind of tier?
Dak,
Dak. Perfect. Okay, so those three guys.
Jordan Love.
Jordan, okay, Jordan Love, who's again a little mystifying after great last year, falling off a little this year. Um, do you take Purdy over any of those guys? Just forgetting age, for just to play one game tomorrow, if they're all healthy, so you can include Dak.
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think I do either. And isn't
But
that interesting?
but he's not terrible. Like he's on like
He's not.
think he's on the tier with like Geno Smith
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's actually
or
I kind of like that. Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence,
yeah. Trevor,
um,
Trevor, and Trevor might be that guy given better circumstances. Yeah,
Stafford and Herbert. Those guys,
yeah,
he's with them.
yeah. No, that's good.
Oh,
That's good.
what about Jaden Daniels?
Oh man, I take Jaden.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
You're not tier above. But yeah, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. But I'm not. I don't want to, like you said before. I don't want this to be a I hate Brock Purdy party.
No, and it's not that for
Um,
me either.
he's not terrible. He's not a bad quarterback. He just needs a good supporting cast around him.
Yeah, yeah.
But we saw with a good supporting cast, he can go to the Super Bowl because he did it last year.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
that he still is viable. That's for sure.
And he's only 2 years into his career. He could become more of that kind of guy. He might.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
But
No,
this year
it's
he was,
interesting.
yeah, he was there for most of the year without that supporting cast, and we saw what happened.
Exactly, exactly. Yep. No, that's perfect, man. That's cool. I thought the interesting conversation to have, and bam, love it.
All right. Um, I think I went over the note. Jared Goff had 303 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. That's just at this point, that's just what he does.
It's incredible.
Jameer Gibbs, 117 yards. Tell you what, it's exactly what you had hoped for when Montgomery went down. Was
Yeah,
just rather than splitting it with Gibbs and another person,
Craig
just let
Reynolds.
Gibbs be the guy.
Yes,
And he has taken it by the horns, and he has been awesome. My my fantasy league, my son won it actually, and he
nice,
rode Jameer Gibbs all the way to the championship.
beautiful.
And his other running back was Cook. He had Cook and Gibbs.
Oh, that's a nice. Well, no wonder he won.
Yeah, and he also had James Conner,
Oh wow,
little
that's
bastard,
insane.
and that's a 12-team league, and he's managed all three of those.
Man, well, my best team. By the way, I have three teams, and these stupid ESPN leagues do 2 week finals, so I have to deal with week 18, which is insane,
Ah,
insane.
you gotta do a Yahoo one.
Yeah, well, it was. I'll explain sometime how this ended up happening. But, but oh shoot, wait, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so my best team. I told you at the very beginning of the season. I told you that I had one of my teams was named Perks Recap Podcast.
Nice.
That's ended up being my best team. I ended up with only 2 losses, and my running backs are Derrick Henry, Jameer Gibbs, and Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, well, that's how, that. Then there's your reason why, right there.
And that's the joy of an auction draft.
Right, right.
Because you could not pull that off in a snake draft.
No, no. All right. Well, we actually do keepers, and he kept Gibbs, but he was able to draft Connor and Cook. Or no, maybe he kept Gibbs and Cook. He might have kept Gibbs and Cook and drafted Connor.
Yeah,
That's
well,
I
they
think what
probably
happened.
got Connor fairly late too, because Connor, it was like Connor was respected, but he wasn't like a top. He was probably what, somewhere between 12 and 17 in running back ranks coming into the season,
Yeah,
somewhere.
probably like a fifth or sixth round pick.
Yeah, he was like people that won their leagues. A lot of people that won their leagues had Connor on their team because he exceeded his draft level by far.
Yeah, good value.
Yep,
Okay.
nice.
All right. Where are we? Okay. Cincinnati over Denver 30-24. We both got it wrong. Cincinnati has hit their stride. My goodness, they are playing very well.
Incredible.
Um, it's just crazy how they stink at the beginning of every year. They've got to fix that because it really hinders them. And we've been saying all year this is the year that it's not going to work out for them. It still might not work out, but they are still
They're
alive
still alive, man. I mean, it
and
is
they have a
unbelievable.
shot. They actually legitimately do have a shot.
And we read this, I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? They literally, no BS, had a 9% chance of making the playoffs 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it is now a realistic possibility.
Yep. I mean,
Incredible.
just
It's freaking incredible.
unbelievable. Um, I'm sorry. I'm trying to call up the game here.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I can give you some stats while you're pulling it up. Bo Nix was, I mean, listen, the Broncos, this was an overtime game. This was a hell of a game. No disgrace for either team. Bo Nix was 24-31 for 219, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Nothing to note on their run game. Marvin Mims, 8 catches for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yep. Joe, jeez, Joe Burrow,
Stats.
412 yards
Incredible. Three
and
touchdowns,
three
no picks.
touchdowns, no picks.
And he ran 4 times for 25 yards and a touchdown. And that's not Burrow generally. So
Yeah.
bonus. I mean, crazy. If you were going up against Joe Burrow in your fantasy finals,
Screwed.
sorry.
Screwed. Yeah, T. Higgins, 131 yards, three touchdowns.
Yeah.
Chase, 102 yards.
He-
Yeah. Oh, 'cause even Mike Gesicki has had a really good year and 86 yards
and like
and catches.
four times a year, he has a game like this. The rest of the time, he's just solid. But 4 times a year, he has a game like this.
And I mean, I might have been, singing the praises and slurping the Kool-Aid a little bit, but regardless, I think he's got to get some MVP votes, even if he doesn't win it.
Oh, and listen, when I was arguing against that point, it wasn't that I thought you were crazy. It's just that I thought you were one spot off, maybe, or maybe two. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's even if they don't make the playoffs, I think he might finish fourth in the voting
Right. Right. Yeah. I
behind
agree.
the two quarterbacks in Barkley. Um,
I
and
mean,
if
he's
they
going to be
do make the
close to.
playoffs, there is a chance he wins, man. There is an absolute chance he wins that MVP.
Well, here's another thing: if they win the make the playoffs, he's going to throw for 5,000 yards probably.
Good Lord, where is he? He's at
He's got
46 something, right?
He's got 46-41. That's only 360 yards. I
Yes.
mean, you say only 360, but he just threw for 412. So
Right, exactly, exactly. Yeah, man.
even if he doesn't throw for five, it'll be probably be pretty close.
I forget who they're playing.
Um, I got it right here.
Oh, the Steelers, whose defense has been crap lately.
Yep, and are they at home?
They're at Pittsburgh, so that does not bode well. But
Right.
but
Um,
listen, it's not like he can't do it against the Steelers D right now
if he
at
throws
all.
350 and three, he'll have 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns.
Yeah.
How do you not give? He's got to have MVP votes.
Oh no, he's gonna if they make the playoffs, he's top three for sure, and then it's gonna be real interesting to see what people think from there. Real interesting because you got three legitimate candidates at quarterback.
I'm trying to see if trying to see how many rushing touchdowns he's got.
Probably, I mean, that could be his only one, but he might have a handful of them. Like,
Real quick, stand by efforting.
nice, nice. Let's see if we can unpack this, Craig.
Oh, he's got two. So
Okay.
he's got 40. All right, so he's got 44 touchdowns right now,
Okay. Yeah.
which is the most, right?
Because Lamar has 4 rushing touchdowns, and I think he has 39 passing, so that would put him at 43, and I think he's second.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic to see what happens here.
I mean, 5,045 is one of the great NFL passing seasons of all time.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But it's,
He's
it's
got
not
to
a
win.
lock.
He's
It's
got
not
to
a
win.
lock. Not
No.
even close because it's a lot like 5,000 is incredible, but it's not like it hasn't been done, so it's not going to guarantee it. Just like Barkley's 2,000 yards isn't might not get him into the top three.
Yeah. He's like I said, he's got to win.
Yeah,
They got to
exactly.
win.
That's
They got to make it, and then he might have a shot.
completely agree, my man.
All right. Well, let's. I think we dove into that one enough, right? We can move on.
Yeah, yeah, right on.
Oh well, real quick. What's the Denver playoff scenario?
I
Because
think
the
winning
Chargers are
you're in.
in.
Broncos playoff. Let's see what it says.
No, I think they got to win. If they win, they're in. But if they lose and Miami loses, Cincinnati's in.
Yeah, that's what I said. Winning in.
Right. So but Denver's got to win. Oh, I thought you said they were already in. I'm sorry.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
We're
winning in, and they're the only one. Miami has to have. I think it's maybe it's. I'm trying to think. Maybe it's Denver loses and Cincinnati doesn't matter for Miami. One of them only needs one team to lose. Cincinnati needs them both to lose, and Denver just needs to win their game on their own, and they're in.
yes, and here for the Broncos specifically, you if they win, they're in. Like we said, if they lose and the Dolphins and the Bengals both lose, then the Broncos still go to the playoffs.
Right.
But
Right.
if they just take care of business, they're in. And by the way, they're going up against Carson Wentz, not
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes.
Right. At home too.
Yes.
So you got to think they should. Well, we'll see. I don't know.
You never know. You never know. Yeah, but the odds are in their favor given what the
Yep.
Chiefs not having to play.
All right. Um, Rams over the Cardinals, 13-9. Another ugly game. We both got this one right. By the way, we both picked Denver last week, so we both were on that other game. Um, so we both were wrong there. Anyway, 13-9, the Rams over Arizona. We picked it much bigger scores, but we did pick the Rams. Arizona's just mailed it in, and the Rams just had a horrible effort, really, 13 points. But they've won, I think, what is it, 5 in a row?
Uh,
Playing well. I mean,
they've been playing great.
this
I'll
one
have it.
wasn't great, but at least they got the win still.
Yeah, they really just stood up a few weeks back and said, "Nah, all you guys are screwed. We're just taking this division." Yeah, 5 in a row, my man. Good call.
Yep, yep. So we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. It's going to be tough, I think, for them. They're one of the lower seeds in my eyes, and one of the lower teams. And I don't think they can compete with the Green Bays and Detroits and Phillies, but we'll see. Um,
Yeah,
Not a whole lot here. Kyler Murray threw for 300 yards, which he doesn't do that often, and he also
yes.
threw 2 picks.
I only had one pick. Was I wrong there? I'm sorry.
The stats I'm looking at say 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Okay, I reversed it. I think yeah, I reversed it. I went two and I said 2 and 1.
And other than Puka Nakua, who had 129 yards, there's really not much going on the Ram side either. I mean, 13-9 is ugly. You know,
What happened to Cooper Cup the last month?
I don't know. He had 1 catch for 29 yards.
He had a game a week or two ago, 0 for 0.
Yep.
And when he first came back off the injury, you thought, oh, he might need a week or two to get healthy. He tore it up for 3 weeks in a row, and then he's been.
We're burying the lead, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I'm savoring it, and yes.
Trey McBride, 12 catches, 123 yards,
And
and 1 touchdown that I called last week.
he got it. He did. I can't believe it. They finally figured out that maybe throw it to the guy who's 6'5" near the end zone.
I said it. I said I'm going to go out on a limb and predict McBride gets one this week because I knew, the Cardinals knew it. Now they're not playing for anything. They were just going to try to do everything they could to get this guy in the end zone, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, man. No, that's great. Good call, and I love it. Yeah, McBride, man, and I mean, it was just unbelievable. The
100 catches, 1,000 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Well, here's the fun thing. I meant to pull this up, so go ahead and talk about something for 2 seconds here, if you don't mind, because
Sure.
I need to pull up two players' stats, and then we're gonna have some fun.
All right. Well, real quick, I'll just go over Marvin Harrison at 6 for 96. Michael Carter ran 13 times for 70. James Conner only ran 4 times for 4 yards. I did not hear anything about Conner if he got hurt or they just took him out. It was a coach's decision. Uh,
I think he got hurt. He had a knee issue because then they put him on the IR after the game.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And by
Um,
the way, kudos to your son for winning his championship when a key player to get him there, got 4 yards.
well, he didn't play him. He was debating all week. Gibbs, Cook, and Connor. Who do I play? Who do I play? And he just happened to land on Gibbs and Cook.
Man, well done. Well done.
Yeah. Kyron Williams, 56 yards and a touchdown, and the only touchdown for the Rams, and that's it. I mean, kind of a ho hum kind of a game, other than a few guys, but nothing crazy. And Kyler Murray lost 38 yards on sacks.
Oh, I didn't see that. What a
He
good
had four.
stat.
He got sacked 4 times for 38 yards.
That's wow. That's impressive. That's a lot of scrambling going wrong, it sounds like.
Yep.
Oh man. All right. You ready for my thing?
Sure.
All right. So Trey McBride has had a fascinating season. And as we talked about last week, you called the touchdown, love it. And here's where his stats are now. And this is after a 16 weeks into the season. So this relates to the season we all grew up with, right? The 16-game season.
Yeah.
So he is right now at 104 catches for 1,081 yards and one touchdown. All right. I'm going to read you the stats of somebody from 2001 that's eerily similar, and I want to see if you can guess who it is. 106 catches for 1,266 yards and one touchdown. Now, I know it's a wild ass thing to ask you to guess this, so I don't expect you to get it. But I'm curious to see if it rings any bells.
It doesn't ring any bells. Um, is
And
it a
it's not
tight
a
end?
tight end, by the way. I should say that. It's a wide receiver.
Wide receiver. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
Mm-hmm.
2001.
Yep.
I don't even know if he was playing in 2001. I think he was after. When did Julio Jones get in the league?
Oh, that's a good guess, but no. And I'm not sure when he got in the league, but it's not Julio. Good guess, though. That's a great guess because he was a low touchdown guy for a great receiver.
2001.
Mm-hmm. You want
Go ahead. I'm not going to get it.
to? Okay. Keyshawn Johnson.
Really?
Yep. He became, because his first five
Was
years in
that
the
on the
league,
Jets or was that on
Tampa
Tampa?
Bay. Yep, it
Okay.
was on Tampa. In his first 5 years in the league, he caught 8, 5, 10, 8, and 8 touchdowns. And then all of a sudden, but he never caught more than 89 catches. In '01, he eclipses that by far and gets 106 catches. Best yardage at 1266, but only caught one touchdown. And I remember it being a kind of a big deal back then. Like, it all of a sudden he became the guy that doesn't catch touchdowns,
Right.
which was frankly really silly because he was a great player. But it stuck in my head all these years. So I was like, wait, that was kind of like that Keyshawn Johnson year, wasn't it? And they're eerily similar.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. So yeah, McBride gets his touchdown though. I love it. Great call.
All right. Moving on here. We're getting almost done with it here. I got the Chargers over New England 40-7. Not surprising here. The Chargers clinch. They are in. So we got to see if they're going to play anybody next week. In the return of our guy, our running back, and I'm really happy to see it.
Yeah, right there with you, bud. J.K. Dobbins back.
Yes, really happy to see it. I hope he can play for them all playoffs long, and they, he can be an impact guy because I'm rooting for him.
Right there with you, man. You and I both. We've talked about him a lot this year, and justifiably so. I mean, what a great comeback story. And then he got hurt, and we're like, bummer. I didn't think I did not in the slightest expect him to come back this week, let alone really this season. Maybe in the playoffs at some point, maybe. But what a resilient guy, man. He just keeps trying and keeps plugging away, and he comes back right away and is better than anything they were able to do while he was out by far. 19 for 76 and a touchdown. I started him on one of my fantasy teams because I had some injury issues and some blah blah blah, and I got lucky. And I'm going to start him again this week because I'm going to need him again. And I just love it, man. And we got to mention Lad McConkey too. 8 catches for 94 yards. I just took off
N-
my glasses.
94 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Man, and Justin Herbert, maybe his best game of the year, one of them for sure. 26 to 38 for 281 and 3 touchdowns, no picks. So, yeah, hell of a game by the time. I mean, what else do you want to see from the Chargers here, right?
Yeah, Dobbins 76 and a touch. Yeah, not nothing on the Patriots side. Even May really couldn't get anything going. Had 117 yards. Didn't even finish the game.
He hurt his
Um,
hand apparently.
right, right. I think he'll be all right, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, not much to say about that about them. And the Chargers going to be one of the interesting, very interesting teams um, in the playoffs here. If they get Houston, they're going to beat Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, yeah. Listen, I'm with you. I think whoever gets Houston is going to beat Houston.
Yeah, totally
Because it's
agree.
going to be either the Steel. I think the most likely, if I read right, and who knows, because these things get my head spinning. But the most likely scenario is either the Chargers or the Steelers. I think.
Yep,
And listen, the Steelers are on their own little slide right now, but I still think they're head and shoulders above the Texans.
yep. No matter who it is, I'm going to be picking against the Texans for that one.
Right there with you. Right there with you.
All right.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man, 40, 45 to 33. The Giants beat the beat the Colts. We both got it wrong. We both picked Indianapolis, but I'm so glad we both got it wrong
I love it.
because the this has been a glorious week on New York Sports Talk Radio.
Oh, talk about it, brother. I love the.
Oh
I
my
love.
god. Oh, just about unanimously, everybody is pissed off. They can't. They can't do anything right. When you want them to win, they lose. When you want them to lose, they win. They dropped from the number one pick to number four. They're
Yeah.
probably not going to be able to get a quarterback now unless they trade everything away to move up from 4-1 or 4-2 or whatever. They're gonna give it mortgage their future, or they're not going to get a quarterback again. And there's talk now that they might not.
Isn't that something, man? Isn't that something? Well, listen. I mean, if I just read these stats, I think they have their quarterback of the future right now. I mean, Drew Lock went 17 23 for 309 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He even ran for a touchdown. I mean, maybe this is Sam Darnold too, right here, bud.
Do you really think that though?
No, not even close.
No. Drew Lock sucks.
I
We
would,
know this.
what I would say though is I would absolutely love for the Giants to think so.
Yeah, yeah. Four touchdowns and no picks. My goodness.
Unbelievable game. Unbelievable
Malik
game.
Neighbors, 171 yards and two. Wow, he's amazing. He's
And
so good.
this is what we were referencing earlier when we were talking about Brian Thomas Jr. This, I believe, you know what? Let's talk about that for a second, too, because we brought it up. We might as well give an informed opinion on this. Let's just compare their stats real quick. Um,
Get Brian Thomas's. I'll get Malik Neighbors.
okay, done.
Yeah, he's having a really good year.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, catches
80.
104.
Wait, isn't that the exact same number as Trey McBride?
Yeah, I think he has 107.
Wasn't
I
that
don't
Brock
know.
Bowers? It doesn't matter. My bad.
Whatever.
Sorry.
What? Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I think it
I
is
just
the
went
same thing.
Rain Man for a second there. I do that. Sorry.
All right.
I'll be counting matches on the floor after the podcast. So yeah, 80 catches to 104.
Yes.
Okay.
Yards
1,179.
1,140.
See, now that separation was massive before this big game neighbors had, you know?
Right. Neighbors has been catching a lot shorter passes, obviously.
Exactly. Exactly. But he showed he can be the game buster this week. Not that we doubted it anyway. It's just sort of bad quarterback play and bad play calling. But he's been awesome. So yeah, okay. So Thomas has him there. Next
Touchdowns
10.
6.
Okay. Yards per catch. That's the only other stat I have popping up here.
Um, hang on.
I would assume Thomas has him pretty good here, but let's see.
Yeah, 11.
14.7. So Thomas has them in 3 out of the 4 categories. Isn't that interesting? Because I was going to lean Neighbors on this, but looking at it, it's you could flip a coin.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, even though um, Thomas has them, it's by like what 30 yards. They both have really
Yeah,
close in yardage.
yeah, it's super close. Eh, I mean, super close. And Neighbors is crushing him in receptions, but Thomas also has a pretty good lead in touchdowns and a big lead in yards per catch. So
Yeah,
it's, I mean, that's about as close as it gets right there, my man. It might come down to this week.
right. But Neighbors might not even play. They're saying he got a toe injury. He was limited this week
He's
in
been like that
practice.
for 6 weeks. So
That's true.
hopefully he'll play anyway. Um, yeah, still battling toe injury. So yeah, it'll be another game time decision like usual.
Yeah. For this game, Flacco threw for 330, two touchdowns, two interceptions, though. And Jonathan Taylor ran for 125 yards and two touchdowns. Pierce, 122 yards. Pittman, 109 yards. Both of them had touchdowns. How did they lose this game?
Yeah, I know it's so weird, man. It really is. Ugh. I mean, everything on the line for this team, and they can't beat the Giants.
All right, Mike, I got a question for you. And by the way, we're going to go over coaches that are going to get the axe
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the end
yeah.
of the next podcast.
Yep.
But I think they have to get rid of Dable and Shane now. Because if they're not going to get one of the top two picks or one of the top two quarterbacks there as the only ones that are grading out as first round grades, so that means they're not going to get their quarterback of the future, then what are you keeping them for?
Yeah. Listen,
I think the appeal of keeping them is finally let them pick their own quarterback and let Dable, who is apparently the quarterback whisperer or whatever, work with a young quarterback for the first time, his guy, and work with him and see what you got for, because if you do that, you're going to get 2 more years of him because he's going to need a year to mold the kid and then another year to see what you got. So that's 2 more years of Dable and Shane.
yeah.
But they can't do that because they can't get the pick. If they don't get one of those two quarterbacks, they can't get it. They can't do it. So what are you keeping them for?
Yeah, man. I listen. It's tough to even make a case for them to get the chance to do that. You know, I do see it.
Well,
It's
the assumption right now is they're coming back. That's the assumption.
yeah, that's a bold assumption because especially Dayball. I just it's
Well, I think
this
if
has
you
been
fire one, you got to fire both.
say again.
I think they're a package deal. You fire one, you got to fire them both.
It's possible, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. You listen to a lot more New York stuff than me. I just know that I don't see how anybody can come back from this season as a coach. So if that means they got to fire the GM too, they should fire the GM too.
I agree. I would let him go, and I'm sure there's a chance of that happening. But I'm just letting you know what the assumption is around here, and what I'm hearing is that they are coming back.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Yeah, that's good.
Right. Good for us in the division.
I love.
Um,
Maybe they can bring back what's his Gettleman as a consultant.
yeah. Um, but they could get rid of him because if they really start thinking about it logically, the way I just kind of broke it down was there's no reason to keep him because they can't get that quarterback that you're waiting for. We're gonna wait another year and then get the quarterback, and then you gotta wait 2 more years after that to see, and then all of a sudden they're here for 7, 8 years. You
Yeah,
gotta, I think you gotta just get a new GM, a new coach. Let him hire his coach, and then they don't. They're not tied to a quarterback. They don't need to get a quarterback. They can get whatever. They can find a stopgap guy, maybe a Josh Fields or somebody like that, who's not probably even more than a stopgap. He's pretty good, or whoever, and see. And then move on from there and not get a quarterback, get a O lineman or a D lineman or whoever's there at the time whenever they pick five, 4 or 5, 6, whatever it is. Because I think if Dable and Shane stay, they're going to have to get a quarterback. They're going to be forced to, which means they're going to mortgage their entire future. They're going to probably have to trade this year's first, probably next year's first, probably a second. Like they're going to have to trade a lot to move up from wherever they end up to one of those top two spots.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there, but
And I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be so desperate to do it. They're going to be so pressured to get their quarterback. They're going to be forced to do that, and it's going to be another shit show, which is fine by me. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, right there with you.
I,
That's awesome.
yeah,
I love it, man. Yeah, no, I mean, well, let's see how the season shakes out. I mean, because they're not locked in at 4, so
right.
let's see what happens, and then I can settle in some of those scenarios better. But what you're saying makes sense for sure. It's just they're a mess, and I'm just curious to see how they handle it because they were a really stable franchise for a long time, and that has clearly ended, and they are now in the lower muck of franchisedom.
Yes, totally agree. By the way, the Colts completely shit the bed. They were playing for their playoff lives and lose to the worst team in the league.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. Yeah, and my two ex coordinators did not have great years.
No,
Steichen and what's his face, Gannon, uh,
no,
and losing this game this way to blow your playoff chances. I mean, I don't think he's going to get fired. We'll talk about that later. But boy, bad loss, bro. Bad
yeah.
loss.
All right. Last game of the week. We both got the Giants game wrong. We both got this one right. Washington over Atlanta, 30-24. Um, Washington had 13 penalties. Atlanta only had 4, so the game ended with 17 penalties. But they overcame that, still scored 30 points. Um, Atlanta, that was it because now Tampa Bay's in control, and if Tampa Bay beats who the hell are they playing this week?
um, got it
I've
somewhere.
got it here. Where are they? Where are they? New Orleans in Tampa Bay.
And they're certainly the favorite.
Yeah, so they're going to most likely win that game, and that's going to be the end for Atlanta.
Yeah, and I'll give them credit in this sense in this game. This was a weird year in Atlanta, and we can talk about that more eventually. But they played their asses off in this game. They really did. This is a very good team they went up against, the Washington, and they had to go to Washington in a tough circumstance, and they almost won this damn game. I couldn't believe. I thought Washington was going to dust them, and they hung in there. And Penix, wow, looking like he still has some growing to do, also showed a lot of potential in this game, I thought, too.
I do. I agree. He looks pretty good. One touchdown, one pick, 223. But just the eye test. He passes the eye test for me.
100% with you. 100% with you. Yeah, he has a professional arm. My God.
Yes. Bijan had 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Drake
Yeah.
London had 100 yards. On the other side, Jane Daniels kind of, 227, 3 touchdowns though, one pick, and then he ran for another 127 yards.
Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable.
So my goodness, all of a sudden he goes up to 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Wow. Brian
Incredible, man.
Robinson
What
had 60, and real quick, Zacchaeus, the receiver, 85 yards and a touchdown, and Zach Ertz, the ghost of Zach Ertz, had 2 touchdowns.
and the game winning touchdown in overtime. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, good old Zach, man. Yeah, I have a fun thing I'm gonna bring him up later in one of our true and falses.
Fantastic. And that's it, man. That's the week. Washington moves on. They are locked in, and the worst week to make predictions is our next podcast, week 18. Not looking forward to it because it's hard.
It's so hard, man. It is incredibly difficult. By the way, am I correct that you gained 2 spots this week and we are now tied going into the last week?
Absolutely. I gained 2 this week. Your Pittsburgh pick bit you, and the
What was the other one?
Minnesota Green Bay pick.
That's right. That's right. So we are tied heading into week 18,
We are both 180 and 76 on the year.
and we have to decide this on the worst week to pick games in
Yeah,
football, which is awesome. I love it. So yeah, I have to try and win 3 fantasy championships in this week too, which is a real pain in the ass. So we'll deal. We'll deal.
absolutely. All right. Well, let's if you're ready to move on to that next podcast, I am ready as well. Hopefully the listeners will join us on the week 18 preview. Do you have anything else to add for week 17?
No, man, I'm good to go. Can't wait to hit week 18 and see how dumb we look the next week when we try and pick these crazy ass games.
Yeah, like you said, not looking forward to it in terms of just it's impossible with all the guys sitting, who to pick. It's really hard to figure out. But we'll do our best, and hopefully you join us for that. And until next time, I will see you later.